didn't know
And
it.
I ran so far.
far away.
Thank you, Leon.
I
Thank you,
couldn't
Leon.
get
I
away.
couldn't
Bom, bom, bom.
get
Bom,
away
bom, bom, bom.
on the dark web.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am, as
But
always,
I'm
Bud
not
Robinson.
logical, Leon. I'm not logical. Dick.
That didn't sound logical at all. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm
So
Bud Robinson.
logical on here.
This is Leon Robinson. Say hi, Leon.
Hi, Leon.
And also with us tonight is
Town logical.
the Town Logical.
The illogical town drunk.
Illogical. Logical.
Town. The illogical,
The
logical town.
logically illogical town drunk.
I don't know what's happening. So last week we sort of just ran off at the mouth.
Just roll with it.
Because
I'm going to choke Leon. That's what's going to happen.
So we're going to talk about
Through
Dynamite.
his fucking phone, I'm going to
Oh
grab
my
his
gosh.
throat, just choke him a little bit. Just a little bit.
No fighting.
Do the force choke thing, town. Do the force choke thing.
Is that from the Star Wars? Is
walked right into that.
one? That's
You walked
that one
right
guy.
into
What's his name? Darth.
No, it's Bart.
No, Dark. Or is it Bart? It's Bart Laser. Yeah, Barth, not Bart. Bart.
Mr. Bart
Laser.
Laser. He's a teacher.
Yes. Yeah.
He teaches the Force.
He
to
teaches
children.
everybody the.
But it's the bad Force.
That's why Doug Skyman's gonna get him with his light stabber.
Oh, good lord. Okay, so Dynamite last week. We had
Here.
Jericho
Bullshit.
and Takeshita with Don Callis defeated Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. As it turns out, Daniel Garcia is not the same woman who was married to The Rock all those years ago. I didn't know that. I learned that in this match. Then we had a package. Then we had Renee interviewing Jericho, wherein Matt Menard came in and said, "We're going to have a meeting next week. You have to be there." Jack Perry came out and tried to confront Jerry Lynn, but instead RVD came out. Big pop on this side. Then we had a promo package for Shida versus Storm for the AEW title, which happened tonight. AEW Women's title. Trent Beretta defeated Penta El Cero Miedo and Jon Moxley in a no countouts, no DQ triple threat. I don't know why they said that, because according to them, triple threats are always no countouts and no DQ. I digress.
Gotta say it.
Renee interviewed RVD.
But it's not,
Then
so we got to make sure we know.
Exactly. We had MJF, his promo, which we should absolutely talk about. Then we had the Elite defeating what has been named on the internet at least once, Team TNA, which totally makes sense for me. That was Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, and Jeff Jarrett. We had Aussie Open defeating Hijo del Vikingo and Comandar for the ROH World Tag Team Championships in a pretty banger of a match. And then we had Hikaru Shida defeating Toni Storm for the friggin' AEW Women's title. There was lots of hair pulling in that match. Thoughts?
That was random and out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. I don't think they did a good job building Sheeta up, and it just felt like
There was no
It's-
fucking build.
it's episode 200. Here's the thing that happens. I know you're excited about it and we're shitting on it, and I apologize.
No. I'm with you. Like they didn't hype it up. They didn't do anything. There's no storyline there essentially because we had a storyline like 3 or 4 months ago where Hikaru Shida wanted to be an outcast and they didn't let her, so she decided that she was going to be.
I thought that's not the case. I thought they wanted her to be an outcast, but she was like, "No, fuck you!
No,
I'm not going to be an outcast."
She
Originally,
it was.
She made him think like she was gonna be with them.
Yes.
And then she swung that fucking kendo stick.
But I was talking about before that when it was like Toni Storm was like trying to figure out who she was going to side with, and it wasn't Shida, it was Saraya. And they were like, "Oh, you've been here too long," or something. I don't know. But you're right. She did smack some people
I don't
with the kendo
think you're
stick.
remembering that right. Town historian disagrees with that statement. She was
It might have been
initially part of
Saraya choosing somebody.
No, you're thinking of. I think you're mixing a few things together. She initially was part of that group, but when they started doing heelish shit, she was like not on board, and then like Ruby Soho joined, and then Sheeta did nothing. She just was gone. And then they brought her back, and then she decided to turn on them and hit them all with kendo sticks.
She wasn't with them at any point though, because she's been an original.
She
the whole
was,
time.
no, she was with them because it was initially Saraya, Tony Storm, and Sheeta, and they fought Britt Baker and Rebel and Jamie Hayter, and that was a 3-versus-3 match. That was how this whole thing started. You forget that. And then Saraya was supposed to be the face, but because she cut that promo when she first came in and made it, then Britt got turned into the face. That's how this whole thing started. So this was not like a plan. This was like a hodgepodge. I also am under the impression that her winning this belt was not a long-term plan. It was Hayter's hurt, and Hayter's not going to make it to England, I don't think, from what I've read. So I think their plan is to have Tony Storm win the strap back in England.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking Sheeta. I like Sheeta.
No,
I
fucking
do.
love Sheeta. I love Sheeta.
Sheeta's title reign during the shutdown was fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, her getting the belt is just like, what?
It just felt so out of nowhere, man.
Yeah, it really was not.
So out of nowhere.
It didn't pop. It didn't pop me. It didn't make me go, oh damn! It was just kind of like, wait, what?
I mean, the fans were stantoked. The fans got. I mean, the
I
fans
really like Sheeta. It's really hard not to like Sheeta.
Like,
she's an amazing
sure.
fucking worker. She's an amazing fucking worker. But when you give somebody a belt that helps to kind of build them up, they never built her up. They decided 2 weeks ago they were going to do this. They had her win a match on like Rampage that nobody saw. Then she wins the belt.
I watched his Rampage.
I mean, people watch Rampage Town.
Well, they do, but
That
you know
isn't
what I'm saying.
It's their lower level show, their B show. Yeah,
I'm being shenanigan-y.
Yeah. But the amount of people that watch it compared to Dynamite is not real big.
I'm
fair.
excited that she has the strap. I hope that they don't just drop. I hope that this isn't just a. Oh look, this is how we're going to build up Tony Storm again. Because I don't think
the match.
I think
the match,
if you have if Sheeta has the belt, you have other options to put her up against. I think her and Tony Storm.
But I think
number two is not.
I think the big story in the women's division is Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm.
Yeah, but
Hayter
they can't do that now.
I don't know how long. How long is Jamie Hayter out?
I have no idea.
I didn't even know that she was out.
Well, she got hurt. That's why she lost the belt.
Yeah.
And the injury was more severe than they thought. So I don't know if she's looking at 3 months, 5 months, 7 months, 9 months. Like, who the fuck knows? But I think they're gonna go all out at all out, all in, whatever the hell it's called, all in.
Either one.
All out at all in, and that's gonna be an astronomically large show. They're gonna have 80,000 people in the fucking arena, which just blows my fucking mind because you never, in a million years, that I think this company would do that. I thought they'd be lucky to hit 30, and they're gonna hit like 80. Well, they might not quite hit 80. They might hit like 7, but the record I think is like 79.
They're at 75
like right
at this
there.
point.
No, they're at 70. They're like 1,500 tickets away from WWE's mark for SummerSlam in '92, which was like 79 something. So they're like at 77, 78. They're like right fucking there. But they gotta have.
They've actually. I thought I read that they have. They've increased the capacity there since then too. So it's only a little bit past the WWE mark, where they need to be to pass the all-time Wembley mark too, which is fucking bonkers. It's
gonna be like one of the top. I think 5 is what I heard. Most attended wrestling shows in the history of professional wrestling, which is fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If you think about how old this company is, but the Sheeta thing just kind of makes me go: is she just getting it to lose it, or are they going to give it to Britt? Like, what are we going to do? Because Britt has not been booked well this year.
Ugh. I hope they don't make it Sheeta and Britt. Not that I.
Oh, you don't like you.
No,
you
it's not that I
Britt.
don't like Britt. It's that
you dislike Britt. That's okay.
I
It's
don't
okay
think
to have
that's the
favorites and not
match.
favorites.
I just
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
think
it's
that's
fine.
the match. Like her and I bring somebody in from Stardom. Like Sheeta has other people that she can fight that would bring in.
The only
That would be
problem,
really
like you
awesome.
always say that, and here's my knock on that: is this is my show from my company. Why the fuck am I going to bring somebody in from Stardom to be on my show and take a spot away from my person? That's my only argument to that. Because this is a big deal. I want my people there. Like, oh, I could bring in this person. That's fine. Money's great. And now this is going to be a statement that I'm going to make. If you bring somebody in from Stardom, is that going to add a bunch of stuff? Is that going to add viewers?
I don't know.
I don't think it will.
I think
No knock on
I
Stardom.
mean,
Stardom's,
it could add a little bit, like in Japanese buys, maybe.
but are you
Or the-
better off? Are you better off saying we're going to take what we've been working on, the people that we have? Because one of the biggest issues in WWE right now, and we've talked. This has been an ongoing issue for 10, 15 years. Is you have these big shows, and the people that need to be on those shows to get that experience aren't getting it. So would you be better off bringing in somebody in from Stardom, or would you be better off having somebody, like Tony Storm, just to get a rematch? Like, to me, that's the thing to do.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm thinking of that roster,
No
and
argument.
I can't think of anybody else that would like.
There's
fit.
a no dream match.
I mean, that's why I was
There's-
thinking
there's-
Stardom. Is that like
There's no dream match with Sheeta.
I don't know where she's at, but Mercedes would be a dream match.
Mercedes, yeah, but I don't think I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god, I want to watch Sheeta fight Mercedes." It's more of, "Holy fuck, I want to see Mercedes."
That's still fair though.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you wherever you put Mercedes.
But I would rather see Mercedes fight Britt Baker.
There's not really any setup for that. I mean, you can't really set up anything.
There's no setup for Sheeta.
Except that she's
I think
working
that
in
history
Japan
there
right
was-
now, as is Sheeta, as far as I know.
I think the histories there were Mercedes and Saraya would be a real easy sell.
That's true. That would be a good match to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Yeah.
point, Leon.
Yeah.
I just like dream matches are great, but sometimes dream matches aren't dream matches. Like if Sheeta fights Mercedes, like, what are we really doing here? And sometimes you're just doing shit to do shit. I don't think that's always good. Sometimes sticking with what you have is better than going out and pulling in a bunch of shit. I'm not calling them shit because that's not how I feel. But like, I don't see Sheeta as in Mercedes. That's just not a dream match. That's just not a match. I'm like, oh my god, I want to see that.
And I don't
don't
know
dislike
if I feel-
Mercedes, and I don't dislike
Okay,
Sheeta. I think they're both
but
amazing.
Conversely, you would not have called Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy a dream match. But when we saw it last year, it was a fucking awesome match.
You're right.
Like,
What was the name of
but
that?
you
What
put
was the
together-
name of that pay-per-view?
But you put together two people.
What was the name of that pay-per-view?
I'm not interested in that. My point
because
is that you
it's
put
not.
two
Your
people
point's
together.
wrong.
You put two people together who make sense and who are good in the ring together.
AEW versus New Japan Forbidden Door. I want to see an AEW guy fight a New Japan guy. That's what that was.
That's
AEW
great. That means you can't
AEW
ever
All
bring guy. Well, then Will Ospreay's off the card. Like you can't have him on All In because he's a New Japan guy. Like that logic doesn't pass. That doesn't pass the mustard because like you can
Will
bring
on?
guys in.
All in?
He wants to be.
Rumor is he's going to be, and he should be.
He has been saying
He
since
should be.
Forbidden
I'm
Door
not saying that
scrum
they
he
should.
wants
They,
to be
they
there.
can't have somebody from Stardom. I'm just saying this Sheeta thing. I don't understand why you would bring Mercedes in and do that. It just doesn't. It's not Forbidden Door. So if I'm going to bring somebody in, it needs to be like
Okay, so then
a
Will
fucking
Ospreay's
dream
out.
match.
Like
Yeah, but
this
for Will
Forbidden
Ospreay, there's
Door
dream
thing
matches.
doesn't make a whole
And
lot
for
of sense.
Mercedes, there's other dream matches too. There's a
Okay, but
ton
it
of
doesn't
different dream
absolutely
matches.
have to be a dream match for it to happen. Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. Like, that was an awesome match.
But that was at a card where it was AEW versus New Japan. This is not a card that's AEW versus New Japan.
Then we
That's what
got to
I'm
get
trying
rid
to
of
say.
Will Ospreay. Like, either we have Forbidden
Bud, you're
Door
missing
matches
my-
or
you're
we
missing
don't.
my point, Bud.
No, I'm
You're
not
missing
missing
my
your
point.
point. You're saying either we can bring
Well-
in New Japan guys or we can't. It's either
I'm
one
not
or the
saying
other.
that. I'm
we're
saying we
kinda
can
on
bring
this
them in.
subject, could I ask a question? What's all booked for this show so far? I'm not even sure.
Not much.
I
I know
think
there's
it's
not
just
much.
MJF
I know there's
and
a world title
Not much.
match.
Joe Punk.
Joe. Well, I don't know that they've actually confirmed that yet, have they?
Well, but they're going to do it, it looks like.
Yeah.
The way they've built to it so far, yeah. And then I watched Rampage and Collision this morning, or well, a couple hours ago.
So back to what we were arguing
That feels
about.
like it's happening.
Bud and I have to finish this argument because it's fun. What I'm trying to say is, just because it's somebody from Stardom or New Japan fighting somebody from AEW doesn't mean it's a dream match. Okay. That doesn't mean you can't have people from New Japan. That doesn't mean you can't do something with New Japan. That's fine. But I'm saying, are you going to bring these people in? Why did we take the belt off of Toni Storm? And now Sheeta's got the belt. Now Sheeta's going to randomly fight somebody from Stardom. Why?
Okay, so don't make it Stardom. Make it Mercedes.
But
this is my point. Like, this is how you get her. This is how you can get her.
So many other things you could do with Mercedes.
Yeah, but
Mercedes can't win that match. She can't win that match. You're gonna have her come in and lose. I mean, granted, whatever. It's neither here nor there. But like, she can't win that match because she doesn't want to be the AEW Women's Champion because she's over there.
Unless she signs up. Isn't she on like a? She's not like on a long-term deal for Stardom in New Japan.
I believe that she is. She signed a longer-term contract.
Yep.
Recently, a few months ago.
My bad.
It was pretty quick, and it was pretty quiet.
It's not super. It's like a year. But she's also been very outspoken about not necessarily wanting to go and do like a full-time AEW contract. Because from what I heard is she said it's the same thing as WWE. I didn't want to go to WWE for that reason. I don't want that. I don't want to do that right now. So I just don't think she wants to do it.
She wants to play in Japan.
You can't really compare a contract between the two companies, just because of their workloads are so vastly. I misspoke. Just their workloads are so vastly different.
They are. You're right, but that's what she said. I just don't think she wants to be on American TV right now. I think she wants to kind of go do her own thing in Japan and kind of have that experience. She's like a hardcore wrestling fan. She's not just a.
Oh yeah, no, she is for sure wrestling nerd.
Like absolutely. I stumbled into this, and I'm going to do this to make money. She's all about going out, having the experiences, doing the shows. So, what the fuck?
I'm still here. I'm here.
All I'm trying to say is that you have Hikaru Shida in this spot now, and I don't it doesn't make a lot of sense to me for them to do Toni Storm. They're probably going to do Toni Storm. They're going to do the rematch. But
and Toni Storm's going to win. It's England. It's her hometown. She's going to win. Should that happen? I'm not saying that. I'm not arguing that point.
Australian.
Yeah.
She's not
whatever. Same England.
She's Australian.
Yeah, Australia is right next to London.
Oh my god. Wow.
Australian English.
Wow.
You know what? Everybody's flustered. Let's just all calm down.
Fuck you.
They both speak English with a funny accent.
That's pretty much it. I just think that sometimes in wrestling as fans we so badly want a fucking dream match that the dream matches we sometimes go for aren't really dream matches. That was kind of my point.
I don't actually know that that's a dream match. I think it would be a cool match. I don't know that it's I don't think that there are.
And I agree.
Wrestling
that. I think it'd be a good match. I'm not arguing.
Monet.
I'm not arguing that it wouldn't be a good match. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I don't see a point to do it, and I don't think it's fair to compare that to Cassidy and Ospreay because that was literally at a pay-per-view where it was AEW versus New Japan. Our top stars versus your top stars, not the same thing. If this was Forbidden Door and you were going to give me Mercedes versus Shida, fuck yeah, that makes sense. But on this card, it's a little more like, okay. That's all I'm trying to say.
I think Toni Storm versus Hikaru Shida is on that same level. I have that as the same amount of interest, and I think the fans do too because
I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not going to disagree with you. However, Toni Storm was the champion. The champion gets a rematch clause.
They don't typically do that in AEW though.
Yeah, they do.
Not that I've noticed, but maybe
depending on who it is.
Yeah.
Depending on who it is, and depending on, they do it for Wardlow constantly. They do it for the tag team belts. They do it for, I believe they've done it for the women's belts. They did it for the world belt when Moxley lost it to Hangman. It just kind of depends on where they're trying to go. Because when Jericho lost the belt, he never got a return. but that's because they immediately moved him on to something else.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's my hope. Is I want Toni Storm to move on to something else. I think what she was doing on Dynamite was interesting, and I want to know where that's going. Like, she's starting to go off her rocker, and I'm going crazy, but I'm still going to fight Cheetah. That just, I don't have any interest in that.
The matter. Who else fights Cheetah?
Yeah.
You don't have anybody. You have nobody ready for that spot. I mean, you just don't.
I mean, my immediate answer is Willow Nightingale, but there's no reason for those two to fight right now.
Willow's great, and I love Willow, but they have done nothing with Willow. Willow is just kind of like champion up here. Willow's just here. She's not quite to that level.
She's close, but like they're not really including her in storylines. Nope. Yeah, which is annoying.
I look at her on the same level as Sky Blue. Is they're up and coming and like?
Yeah, I suppose.
I think that's how they look at her. They look at her as we're still building her. I don't think they're ready to do that. Like, I don't see Willow having a match on that show. I don't see Sky Blue having a match on that show. I don't think they will. My hope is that because we're getting these shows back-to-back weeks, we get some different people on the shows, and we don't just get...
Yeah. I think if Sky Blue winds up anywhere, it's going to be on All Out, because that's her hometown.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be argued about that endlessly.
Can we argue about the Elite versus Team TNA? Somebody mentioned that team as Team TNA, and it all like clicked for me. Like, okay, I don't like Jarrett and Lethal and Singh and Dutt, but like that's exactly what they're doing. They're aping TNA. Yep. And the nonsense shit that they used to do there. Like, that's exactly what it is.
Did anybody think that the Elite was going to lose?
I did.
Like, you knew they were going to fucking win. It wasn't a bad match, but it was just, I don't know. When Jarrett's out there, his matches have just a different feel. They're very carny, I believe. You were the one that said that.
When him and Kenny Omega were the first ones in the ring. It was very old school, even though Kenny made that more interesting, I think. But like, it was very old school. It was very retro, very Jarrett. Like,
this match to me was just a reason to get him out there and say that they re-signed with AEW.
Yeah, probably.
That's exactly what I felt about it, which we found out like right after last week's show.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, we did.
Which was smart on their part. I think it was the best. I think it was the best move. I don't think the Bucks would have been. I don't know. Part of me thinks they would have been okay in WWE just because of who they are, but you never know. You never know what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And that schedule would have been hard on them, but
yeah,
worked out, I guess.
Do we want to talk about?
Especially with 3 of the 4 having families.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one, like I said last week, the one if I'm Tony Khan that I don't want to lose is Hangman, because I think Hangman's the biggest upside because he's the youngest. He's got the most left. Kenny is very kind of like elder statesman, kind of like beat up, and the Bucks they've been around for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think if they I think that's more like a storyline. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. Like, I think you could bring Kenny back up through the ranks and like make him.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying Kenny's closer to the end than the start. Whereas opposed to Hangman, I think there's a lot more Hangman. I don't think Hangman has a lot of wrestling left.
That's
Whereas
true.
Kenny Omega, he's so fucking beat up, and that's not a storyline. That's when he had that title reign, and when he lost that belt, he was a hot fucking mess.
Yes.
So like he's
got so much shit fucked up.
Yeah. And he's done so much as a wrestler and so many great things, but it's just like, and I could see that'd be another reason to not want to go to WWE and have to put your body through that grind.
True.
So
do we want to talk about the MJF promo?
Loved it.
Or Trent Beretta, because I loved both of them. It was so that apparently I've decided the MJF promo was like it was so not him. You know what I mean? Like, it was completely out of his wheelhouse. And he's done promos like that before. Like, he's done, I think with Punk, he did a promo that was similar to that, where it was personal and like...
Whenever he wants to garner sympathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the dude is masterful at getting the crowd in his hands however he wants them, and not a lot of guys in this business are able to do that. He can take you in the palm, and you can love that fucker, and you can hate him, legitimately want him to die 20 seconds later. And it's just like that. He can just do whatever he wants. The way he talks, the way he uses words, the inflection of his voice, like he's a fucking master. He's one of those kind of guys that's just one of a kind. He's got that Rock vibe. He's got that Jericho vibe. I'm trying to think of anybody in the WWE that technically has that right now, and I fucking cannot think of one. Like legitimately, they don't have anybody like that. And Austin could do it. Rock could do it. Shawn Michaels was really good at that. Then Triple H was never able to do that. In
this moment, I'm remembering a video I watched of The Miz and LA Knight in the ring doing a promo together, and I was like, I'm sitting here thinking, no, not even close. It's kind of horseshit compared to MJF.
MJF's that good. When he says they're gonna try to pay a shitload of money to get him, he's not wrong. Like WWF is gonna be, how much do you want? We'll give you whatever you want, because he could come in right now and he'd be their top heel.
Yeah,
I think he's already re-signed.
Yeah, I'm there's no fucking way Tony Khan's letting him go. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
But I think the more I watch and the more I get involved in this, we always talk about the guy that is going to get them over the hump, because they need that one guy that's like going to go and just elevate shit. And it's MJF. Like I keep saying Jungle Boy because I love Jungle Boy. And heel Jungle Boy I'm enjoying very, very much. Don't get me wrong. And Jungle Boy is like that white meat baby face, and he's trying to do something different. And this is huge for his career. Can he pull this off or not?
Hollywood Jack.
Great. It's fucking great. It's every week it's better. So my hope is in like 2 months we're gonna be like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
Because that first week was just like, bro.
It was a busy one. Yeah.
Yeah. But MJF, the way he gets the crowd involved in the things he does, and he doesn't have to do much to get responses. And he makes an ass out of himself, which I think is really important. He doesn't ever mind making an ass out of himself. He's starting to remind me of Corporation Rock.
Yeah.
Like, that's who he is. Like, the heel guy, but he's cutting the promos. The people love him, but he's trying to stay heel. The struggle for him is going to be when they turn him face, because they're turning him face. They may not do it now, but that's the long play here. When they turn him face, he had the Rock and Sock connection, and the Rock and Sock connection was trying to make him a little more likable, but it was really hard for him to get to that baby face point. But then when he got there, it was fucking crazy. And that's kind of how I see MJF right now. Like, I think when they turn him, there's going to be that bump at the beginning, but I think he'll eventually. I think he's the guy. I think he's their guy. I think he's that guy. I think it's him. I don't think you can argue anymore.
And I think he's,
especially with this shit with Cole, like the shit with Punk. You're working with CM Punk. CM Punk's got some good ideas, and you can rip on him, and you can be mad at him, you can think he's a prickly asshole. But the guy's really fucking good. He really understands wrestling. Now that he's starting to do it, like everybody he works with, like when they had the Four Pillars match, what was the driving force of what was the behind the whole Four Pillars match? It was MJF. He was the reason we gave a shit about. He was the only reason we gave a shit about that match. Not to knock those other guys, but he's like leaps and bounds above them. So I just look and I think that's going to be him. And this, I think, showing this kind of attitude and being this way with Adam Cole. You were the one I think told me about it. You thought Adam Cole's going to turn heel.
It's possible.
I don't know.
I kind of think that they're both going to be face. I think they're going to be face DX for AEW. I'm oversimplifying because they have a different thing going, but I think that's kind of the vibe that they're going for. And I think Piper is gonna Piper. I think Roderick Strong is gonna. I think he's gonna team with the Kingdom, and I think the Kingdom and Strong are gonna feud with them. That's what it seems like. This is this is early moments of the whole Roddy Piper's son of a whatever his name is, Roderick Strong.
Like it, it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right now, but just I don't know. I think it feels obvious that that's where they're building to right I don't feel like the Kingdom is anywhere near the level of those two, though.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean, they
think
have
that's-
history with both of those guys. Not MJF.
Well, they got history, but
Strong and Cole.
If they have a match,
as far as
it's gonna be
AEW goes, you got those two guys up here, then you got that other that other trio, right around here. So, I mean,
gotta, but
Hmm.
to Bud's defense here, you've got a really good story with Roderick Piper, that I'm gonna call him, and Adam Cole, and like that's a good little thing. And if you bring somebody else, if you can elevate some of these guys that aren't doing shit that are really good,
Yeah.
that'd be great. You can't have the same guys in the main event all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
And you cycle some of these guys in. I mean, like, WWE used to do that all the time. They'd take guys who were lower on the card and they'd cycle them into the main event. And then they wouldn't do anything with them. But, like,
So,
AEW
so
is different.
that's okay, but you can't take somebody that's like, you can't like bring Griff Garrison back and be like he's gonna beat MJF and become the champion.
Yeah, you
Just
gotta,
like
you gotta
that
have a
is the
story
WWE
in there. Yeah, yeah.
You gotta have. You don't take somebody from the low card. You take somebody from like the upper mid card that's not doing a ton, and you pull them up.
Yeah,
You got to
who's
build a
close.
little better than
Yeah.
that. You can't just randomly be like, Jinder Mahal's here. He's angry and he's much better than he was 2 weeks ago when he jobbed to freaking Eugene on
Vince
Heat.
McMahon disagrees with you
I know.
because they're going to Saudi Arabia, so they have to have
He
a...
did all the
Wow.
steroids.
Wow.
He did all the steroids, pal. Have you seen his tits?
That's where he is.
Yes, amazing tits.
That happened. That fucking happened.
It did, yeah.
He beat Shinsuke,
Mhm.
which is just like, oh, still mad about that. Love me some Shinsuke.
I find it
What else are
hard
we
to-
talking about on this show? The triple
We
threat.
can talk about the triple threat.
Moxley didn't bleed.
Neither did Penta. Those two are
Moxley
notorious
didn't.
for bleeding.
Moxley like bleeds
Yeah.
walking through a fucking stiff wind,
Yes.
and he didn't bleed in this match. So I was just like, what?
Trent did, though.
Where are we going with this? Like, I guess that's my
I
question.
don't-
Are we gonna get? Are we gonna get a fucking death match between Moxley and Orange Cassidy? Because I kind of want to see.
I hope so. I kind of want to see that, too. Especially with, like, the whole storyline with him being, like, Orange Cassidy being all beaten up. If you saw him come in and, like... I could see go either way. Like, I could see Orange Cassidy come in and he manages to beat Moxley at his own game. Or Moxley wins, he takes the title for a while, and Orange Cassidy goes home and licks his wounds for a while. Like, I could see it happening either way.
Or you have John Moxley cost Orange Cassidy the belt. Then they have the match. Then you move Orange Cassidy, have him beat Moxley, put him up for a world title shot at a pay-per-view.
Hmm.
There you go.
Hmm.
Well, you got to do something to build him up there. That'd be better.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think putting
I would
him...
never give Moxley the international title. Why the fuck would you do that?
Why not?
Makes no sense. No, why would you?
Why not? You can't give him the world title, either one of them, because they are both entrenched in storylines. And I
Yeah,
think
but I don't think what's that going to do for Moxley though?
he can take it to Japan. He can wrestle there.
I just don't.
I think if you gave it to Moxley, he would be,
He could take it to GCW and wrestle there.
yeah.
I just don't see any need for him to have that belt. It just doesn't make sense because that's such a different belt than what Moxley is. Because Moxley's like that dude, and that belt is for guys that are trying to come up. I'd rather see that belt end up on somebody that's going to get a little bit of a rub from it. I still want Swerve Strickland to win that fucking belt. That has not changed.
Yeah.
I want him to beat Orange Cassidy.
And actually, if you did that, like having Moxley interfere would make a whole lot of sense. Like having Moxley
Right.
cost him the belt.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I just said. I just said
Well,
something
not
along
about
those lines.
Swerve Strickland though. I was like,
Well, yeah,
I didn't, but like you mentioned Swerve Strickland, and I think that makes a lot of sense because they have.
I think
story there.
Swerve getting that belt would be huge. Like they need to get that belt on a guy like that.
Mhm.
I'm not convinced Orange is going to lose it anytime soon though, because they just kind of keep
They
just keep
beating
doing
him
it.
up.
Rolling along.
and it's good. Like every match he has is phenomenal.
Mhm.
But there's got to be a window on this thing sooner or later where they're like, okay. But it's an epic. There may never be a better international title run ever. It's feasible. That's how good this run has been. So, but I do want to see Swerve.
Yeah.
I like Swerve, and I think getting Swerve out there and having him wrestle those matches every week would be phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Totally phenomenal.
We need to see more of him because I think he's amazing. He's interesting. He's weird.
He's great.
He's just like a beat off from everybody else. Like that sounded wrong. He's just like, as Leon has mentioned many times before, he has a little bit different timing from everybody else. So his matches are a little more involved than most matches that we see that are kind of his style, like high flying, quick matches. And also like all the horror shit that he keeps doing. Like he keeps doing all of these, like, I'm going to go beat the crap out of somebody and like by breaking their fingers or stabbing them with a knife. Like, or it was a piece of glass.
Yeah.
It was a piece of glass.
Like they take it to some really like.
I'm assuming that's a match at All In.
Him and Darby?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, no, Swerve and AR against Darby and win.
I could see that. Yeah.
I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
The ROH tag title match,
Mm-hmm.
the one guy in Aussie Open
Mm-hmm.
looks like he should be picking his kid up from elementary school with that mustache.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, he looks like a dad.
He does. Which makes me hope that they now hire Dan the Dad, because that's one of my favorite wrestlers. I think he worked for AEW like on Dark.
He was on a few episodes of Dark towards the end of the Dark run.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with
covered
the Dark Web. What do we think of the Jericho Association? Jericho's club of whatever he does there. Oh my god.
Jericho and Pal.
I'm under the impression that what's going to end up happening is that the Jericho Appreciation Society is going to join, what's his face?
Don Callis.
Don Callis. They're going to join Don Callis,
family?
and Jericho's not. I think they're going to turn on Jericho. At least a couple of them will. Because I think what Don Callis needs right now is he needs some heat. He needs some guys. Like I look at the tag team guys, Menard and the other guy whose name I can't remember that has the comb that I love.
Ange, Cool Hand Ange.
Yeah, like those two. Put them with Don Callis. Let's get those guys doing something, because in Jericho Appreciation Society, they haven't done shit.
It's true. Yeah.
Daniel Garcia. I don't know. I think Sammy Guevara won't go, but I think Sammy Guevara needs a feud with Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he needs to go over Jericho and just be like, I'm done with this and move on. Like, I beat you. You taught me everything cool, but I'm done. I'm going to pass you up now.
I can see that.
I
hope they don't do that, because I think this whole like who's in the Don Callis family and like trying to court the best and the brightest, Jericho, Takeshita. It looks like maybe he's trying to court Will Ospreay, like to bring in these guys that are like into his family that are like top tier, like guys you wouldn't expect in that family. I that interests me, and I'm like, well, who are they going to bring in? And so for them to like just take the JAS and say this is mine now. You also need in a faction.
You also need those guys that aren't necessarily top tier to kind of eat shit sometimes, because sometimes you got to get your ass kicked, and it's way easier to pull your good guys out than have these other guys get their ass kicked. And that's what Menard and Cool Hand Ange can be. Those two,
somebody can take the pin.
Yeah, the heaters. Maybe those two are the only two that go, but like I could see that. What do you do with Hager? It's like you aren't going to put him. Can't put him with Don Callis.
Maybe he's just going to be done. Like he came in with Jericho because, from my understanding, Jericho asked him to come in, and maybe Hager's just done.
I don't know.
I could see that. A lot of, if I remember what I read correctly, a lot of the day one guys if they haven't signed any kind of extensions, their deals are coming up pretty quickly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I would think that you would want to. Like, he's a guy that's very talented in the ring,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got a very unique look, and he's fucking big, and they don't have a lot of big guys on that show. That's one thing about AEW. Like, I remember when Orange Cassidy stood next to Jericho looked like a fucking giant. Because they're not big. Like, they're not... Well, these guys aren't coming out of the early 2000s. We're testing for steroids here in WWE era, where, you know...
Yeah.
Oh, you're a main eventer? Oh, let's... Here,
Wellness policy.
I'll piss the neck up for you. Because, like, there's guys I see on WWE now where it's like, yeah, you're on some juice there, bud.
Oh.
Because they don't have guys like that. That's
Yeah.
the thing with Wardlow. Wardlow's not that big. Wardlow's like 6'2" and like 250, 260.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like a dude that eats a lot and goes to the gym and just like lifts heavy. That's what he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he doesn't do a shitload of bodybuilding. He's not super cut. He's just big and bulky and strong. But he's not like in WWE, he wouldn't be that big. But in AEW, he looks like a fucking giant of a man. Because they're not as big.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're better in the ring, though. But
Yeah.
and so that's kind of my thing with Hager. Is I look at Hager and I go, "There's a way to use him, but how do you use him? Maybe they need to sign Dutch Mantel and bring him in, and maybe make him do like the Pledge of Allegiance or something, and then team him up with Cesaro. That sounds like a really fucking good idea.
Yeah. I don't know.
Name him after people from Fox News.
I don't see Hager. I don't see Claudio leaving the BCC. And
No,
I don't see Hager.
I was making fun of Vince.
Okay.
I don't know what you do with Hager, but Hager's the
That's
one.
the
Like
thing. Like
the other problem with Hager though is that he loses all the time. He doesn't win a lot.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Sean Spears. Like he's in that space where he's a good hand to have, and it's great that he's there.
Good hand.
But he doesn't win very often, and he's not usually in storylines except with his hat, like the whole hat thing. Like,
I like this hat.
yeah,
He's basically a guy that's supposed to stand behind Jericho and look big and scary.
yeah. And if you don't have the JAS, why would you keep doing that? I don't know. Maybe he wants to keep going, and if he does, that's awesome. He just doesn't strike me as somebody who wants to continue with wrestling indefinitely.
I disagree with you because he stopped doing MMA mostly because of wrestling. I think wrestling's a little easier,
Yeah.
especially in AEW when you're making good money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's making pretty good money. And if he's going to keep making that money, I'm sure they'll. And he's got experience. Like he's done a lot in the business.
I mean, they might just have him as an agent.
Former WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
That's right.
Was not a good run. Not a good run. Let's talk about Collision, bud.
Yeah, let's talk about Collision. I'll do my rundown.
Collision that I didn't watch because I forgot.
How dare you? So we had our promo time with CM Punk, Ricky, Nana spoke for Brian Cage and Big Bill, and then FTR. And then we had FTR versus the Brawlic Buddies. I had to look that up. Which is Big Bill and Brian Cage for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Take a guess who won. Then we had some stuff. We had Bullet Club Gold interview with Shivani, which was ridiculous, as it always is. Chris Statlander defeated Mercedes Martinez, and then they did this thing where Mercedes was going to beat her up, and then somebody, I don't remember who came out. Oh, Diamante came out. And then Willow came out. Diamante came to beat up Chris Statlander. So then we had Tony Storm acting like a crazy person with Tony Schiavone. Samoa Joe defeated Serpentico in a 14-second match. Apparently it was a record. Then we had the Acclaim talk about Billy Gunn. He's serious about being retired. Okay. House of Black defeated Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and Lee Johnson for the Trios Championships.
That was fun.
It was a good match. I'm not surprised that they lost, but it was a good match.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Then we had Christian Cage interviewed by Shivani, where he got his kid kicked out of the building. And then Jay White came out with Bullet Club Gold to defeat Metalik. I think
Is
that's how
that
you say
Grand Metalik from WWE?
Possibly.
Okay,
Leon
I'll
seems
look
to
that
think
up.
it is. The Guns were
Is
on
it Leon?
commentary, and they
Okay.
were hilarious. Then we had
To
CM
the
Punk.
best of my knowledge, yes, sir.
CM Punk defending his Real World Championship against Ricky Starks, with the guest referee as Ricky Steamboat, and of course Punk.
The
won
Dragon.
that. Yeah, he had a cool entrance video. Steamboat did. It was a good card. It was decent.
I feel like one of the things about Collision is that Collision is so brand new. They're still trying to build what this show is.
So, like,
and that's how I feel every time I watch it.
I think
It's like we're working on getting this. We're working on getting these storylines started because it's still only a couple weeks old.
it's like 7 weeks old.
Yeah, but all the same.
Yeah.
Dynamite at 7 weeks was pretty like you didn't know what the fuck was going
That's
on.
fair.
So then I get the same vibe.
And additionally,
Is there a better heel professional wrestler than Christian?
Not presently.
Like you told me about him getting his kid kicked out, and I had to fucking watch it. I looked for it on YouTube when I watched it, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, I fucking love Christian. And I remember back in the day when Edge and Christian were the heel tag team, they did the 5-second pose,
Mhm.
and it was so fucking obnoxiously hilarious. Those two are just they're fucking incredible. I don't even know what to say.
It's true.
I don't even know what to say.
I would love to see Edge in AEW so that they can reform and do some hilarious shit. I don't think that's.
Well, he's
gonna
talking
happen.
about not having much left in WWE. Like
Yeah.
he's good, but I think he's done. Like I think he's
Yeah.
just going to retire.
Yeah. Punk versus Starks was fine. It was a good match. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say about this card overall, honestly.
Starks beat the shit out of Steamboat. I saw
Yeah.
a clip of that, and Punk saved him, and the crowd
Punk chased
turned on
him
him. Young Bucks against FTR
Yes. Yeah.
at Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be. They just can't have a bad match.
No.
So I mean, that'll be.
Yeah, it completely, when FTR came out, it was completely out of left field. Like, they hadn't even mentioned the Young Bucks in ages, and they just said the Young Bucks, and the whole place flipped.
That's because that match is that's
be-
like two of the best tag teams
Yeah.
of this generation.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that might be the two best tag teams of this generation. Well, they can be 2 and 3, but we all know number 1 is Usos. But other than that,
Okay, all right. Well, you don't be ridiculous, okay? It's Roman and Solo.
God damn it.
oh, that was too easy. I mean, I think they're doing a trios match at Wembley. I think it's going to be the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn against what do they call those guys?
House of
Malachi's
Black?
guys. I forgot the name.
House
House
of
of
Black,
Black.
yeah.
Yeah.
Black?
I do the same thing. There's so many.
Too many thoughts going through my head sometimes. I think that they're going to. I think that's going to happen at Wembley. I think that fucking the Acclaimed is going to win the belts.
That makes the
I think
most
that's where
sense.
this is going.
If they're going to do it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to do it because Billy's retired. Something to pull him back, get him that. 'cause
I
think
honestly,
that would
I
be-
hadn't thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense. I kind of see.
Yeah.
I see like Billy Gunn turning on them and coming back with somebody, and like they have a tag match or something. But trios makes more sense.
I don't think so
Less
because I think if you look at what happened is Billy Gunn lost the match both times.
Yeah.
It was Billy Gunn. It wasn't them. It wasn't anything the Acclaim did.
Mm-hmm.
It was him just not being able to win. He just lost a step and he got beat. So I think that the redemption for him is to win the trios belt. Plus, I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get a Mondo big run, but like shit, give him a little run.
Yeah.
As much as I love the House of Black, because the House of Black as trio champions is just fucking crazy. But just have them win it back in a couple minutes, like the pay-per-view following. You know,
The Acclaimed as trios champions.
I
though.
like the gimmick they have going with where the challengers get to pick a stipulation each time. I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, that's really
like this
cool.
last one with Action Andretti and them choosing the stipulation that what's her name again?
Julia Hart.
Where she was banned from ringside. I mean, that's some smart shit
Who's
right
inspired?
there. I like that.
So outside of the realm of AEW, Vince McMahon's house got raided again by the government.
Did it really?
What?
Not again, but it got raided. You didn't hear that he got raided by the government?
No, I missed that
No.
completely.
Yeah, they the government had a search warrant they filed on his house, and he had spinal surgery. So they're just like,
Wow.
I don't know.
Did he have neck surgery again?
No. I know exactly what you're saying. He had a legitimate spinal surgery, so but yeah, he had to like tell everybody that he got raided and everything in the company. That said to be a fun conversation.
What were they looking for? Do we know?
It has to do with him and the money he's paying the people to keep him quiet. Because what their argument right now is that you took company funds and the company is owned by the stock market, therefore that's a violation. So it's kind of it's like a fraud case.
Yeah.
FCC, yeah.
But there's a guy who has been rich his whole life and just basically thought he can do whatever the fuck he wants to do, and now
maybe
he gets
not.
in trouble. He gets in trouble. Well,
he is still rich. And
Leon, did you watch SummerSlam? I didn't watch SummerSlam either.
No.
They left a bunch.
I didn't even know it was happening. I thought it was at the end of the month.
Like normally, that's what you would think, but they decided to do it right away. So I didn't watch. No tag team title match. They weren't even on the show. Sami Zayn, who at WrestleMania, arguably, him and Kevin Owens got the biggest pop. Not even arguably, they did. They weren't even on the show. They've been building a feud with Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch. Neither of them were on the show. They weren't even in the fucking arena. They were at home. They left a bunch of people off the card. And Triple H said in an interview, well, if you're off the card, you got to take those lemons and make some lemonade.
What the hell does that mean?
Didn't Becky show up and like on TV with some lemonade?
Yeah.
I thought I saw a graphic of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the show wasn't bad, and then the main event fucking killed the show because it was god awful, and it was the same Roman Uso match that they've had 46 times with the same bullshit ending. And which one fought him? Was it Jey Uso that fought him or Jimmy? I don't even fucking know. The other
Which
Uso,
one are you?
I think it was
the
Jey.
other Uso came out dressed in a fucking like a bandana and a hood over his head and beat the shit out of his brother so Roman won, and then unmasked. So one of the Usos turned on the other Usos.
Yeah, and I read somewhere. I don't know any of this. I just read a comment somewhere. Apparently, the whole tribal combat thing was supposed to be nobody else in the family can interfere, blah blah blah, and then they just completely disregard that to do that ending.
But Solo was involved in the whole thing too. Solo was out there the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so they
How
just-
are you going to come up with rules if you're not going to follow them?
Well, did he interfere though?
Yeah,
He did.
yeah.
Okay.
He did the thumb spike to him, and then he came
Gotcha,
in. The
okay.
crowd, I guess, from what I've read, the crowd just shit on it. And they're,
Okay.
you know what? This is starting to remind me of the NWO, with a few caveats. This was never as successful as the NWO was at its peak. Not even close. But it's this angle that was. They've had moments with this angle, and they just will not stop it. They fucking refuse to stop it.
You've still got story to tell, pal.
And,
And now,
okay,
now they're pushing.
Cody's going to win at WrestleMania 40.
We'll see, or 47. I mean, now they're writing it out because people are actually interested.
Breath on that.
He's still yelling. Go ahead, bud. What were you going to say?
I was saying that they're pushing it now because they're actually making money on it. But then they're doing stupid, shitty swerves like this, and like they're treating their fans like shit. Like they're treating their fans like kids.
Here's the problem.
There's
Triple
loads.
H is not a bad booker.
Mhm.
He's not. He understands how to get people over. He understands how to build. Leon, nobody wants to look at your grubby fingers. What are you doing?
He's getting the hair off of his camera.
Well, stop having cats. You won't have hair on your phone.
Stop having dogs.
I brush him. He's fine. I'm not picking hair off my camera, am I? Nah?
It's like stuck in my phone case. I'm sorry.
Okay. Triple H is a good booker. And he understands how to build people. He understands how to make characters. He understands all that. He understands smart booking. And he's a little more old school, and he likes longer title reigns, which is good because Vince McMahon went and did new WWE champion every 14 days. Or 6, like depending on what he wanted. The problem is he inherited all this shit. Like just literal shit. Like everything was shit. And he's got to rebuild. But there's stories being told that have to be seen through. And the audience right now needs they need a complete refresh and they're not getting it. We're just taking the shit that happened before. We're trying to fix it. So we're taking this turd and we're trying to polish it. What happens if you polish a piece of shit, Leon?
It's still a piece of shit, town.
Thank you, Leon.
No problem, town. That's what I'm here for.
That's really what this is. I mean, it's just
it's true. Yeah.
You can see some there's good things happening, but then at the same time, it's like they still are so hyper fucking focused on Roman Reigns, and people are just fucking tired of it. I just don't care. What I would love to see and they have this, I know they have this data, because they can track how many people are watching SummerSlam. What I want to know is what their numbers were at and what happened when Roman came out. Because I guarantee you the numbers went...
Everybody left.
That's what they fucking do on SmackDown when Roman comes out. That's what they do on fucking Raw if he comes out. Like, people just stop... Because there's no point.
Mm-hmm.
There's no... Because okay, he's going to talk a big game, then he's just going to win. Okay. Cool. And there's a point where the returns just don't matter anymore, because you can't build a guy, never have him fucking lose, and then people are supposed to care. It's just like, why the fuck am I going to watch if this guy always wins? It's different from like a Bill Goldberg. That was a build. This isn't even a build. This is just he wins. He beats every baby face. And Bill Goldberg was a face even. Like, he beats every baby face. Just unbelievably bad. Like, he decimates everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I care? And why do I even care about this? And no one does. So there you go. And why is Logan Paul beating Ricochet?
Because he's a YouTuber.
He's famous.
Poor Ricochet.
He gets eyeballs, pal.
I wish Ricochet would go to AEW, but he won't. He's the one guy WWE has that can do flips. They need to keep him because they need one guy like that.
Mm-hmm.
Look how amazing he is. No one can do that. Then you turn on the other wrestling, it's like everybody does it. But fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, it happens so much in AEW that people complain about how much it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need their one Rey Mysterio in WWE. And that's Ricochet.
Rey Mysterio's still there.
Is he really?
Dirty Dominic Mysterio's there too. Tonight was NXT. I bet you Dominic
was dirty.
Did he lose? Well, no, he was defending the NXT North American Championship that he randomly won for no fucking reason. Like, he's not even on NXT, but give him the belt. And Rey Mysterio was in Dragon Lee's corner tonight because Dragon Lee is more of a son to Rey than his own son. I don't fucking whatever.
But the stuff they were doing with Rey and Dominic was interesting, but now it's like they're still pushing it.
It's interesting because they made the big deal about it.
They're getting up bad for that horse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Mania and they fucking Rey won cleanly, and nobody gave a shit because everybody loved Dom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like the biggest piece of shit sleazeball ever, but people fucking love him. Maybe that's the guy WWE needs to put the horse behind. Have him beat fucking Roman. Oh my god, that would be a clean pinfall in like 3 minutes.
No, don't make it clean. He's Dirty Dominic. Rhea Ripley needs to come out and beat the shit out of Roman for like 20 minutes. And then they ring the bell, and Dirty Dom slides into the ring and gets the pinfall.
I can't stand Austin Theory. He's such a fucking garbage wrestler. I watch him and I'm like, I heard he was supposed to be so fucking good that I watch him in the ring. I'm just like, what is this? This sucks.
He's the next Roman Reigns.
That's a huge fucking problem though since AEW came around. Is like these guys that WWE bring up and they want you to think are these great wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Then you change the channel and watch the other show and it's like, well, no, time out. Wait a minute. That guy sucks. That guy's really good. You know, like what the shit?
Yeah.
The bullshit you trying to feed me.
Mass amounts of fucking bullshit.
That's what WWE is. Massive amounts of bullshit.
Truckload.
Hey, they had the most successful gate ever. SummerSlam.
700,000 people.
17 million, pal.
How many was it actually?
I don't know. They made the most money, I guess. It was the most successful SummerSlam in terms of sales.
Okay.
So I don't know what that means. At Survivor Series or something this year, they're going to do something where they act like they have 100,000 people to say they have the biggest show of the year, and it's going to be not close. It's going to be like, we're in this arena that holds 46, and there's about 27,000 people here. There's 194,000 people in this arena. What the fuck are you talking about? The arena only holds 41,000, but we've added chairs.
Oh god, Meltz will have a field day with that shit.
Standing room only.
I want them to do this just for the fucking arguments that Dave will get into with fucking idiots on Twitter over it. Oh god, please give me this. I need this. I need this.
Have you noticed that, like Eric Bischoff hates Meltzer, Jim Cornette hates Meltzer, Vince has to just fucking hate Meltzer. Tony Khan does not. But it's like Meltzer just like points out these obvious things that are like true, and people get so fucking mad at him. Well, what the fuck do you know, Dave? What the fuck do you know? And it's just Bruce Pritchard's the same way. It's because they're fucking mad.
Oh god, fucking Bruce loses his shit on their show over him. At least when I used to listen regularly, like, good lord. Like, just mentioning his fucking name, and dude would just go off on a fucking tangent of why he's always wrong, and he just makes shit up, and da-da-da-da-da. And sometimes it's entertaining, like when he's in one of those kinds of moods, but sometimes it's just fucking old man yells at cloud, and it's painful. Yep. And unfortunately, like, as time went on, it got less and less of the first part one, and more and more of the fucking second version.
When he went back and got rehired by WWE, that's when it really went south, because then he was mad at Meltzer again because he had to deal with it all the time. I'm sure Vince just hated Meltzer. But, like...
Oh, I mean, he still hated him while he was, not employed, but once he got
Bischoff,
back, it
Bischoff hates him too. Up. You guys did not watch the Dark Side of the Ring, I assume, about Bash at the Beach 2000?
Mm-mm.
No.
It was it's a really good watch because it's a clusterfuck. Because the information they have, they constantly contradict themselves because nobody actually knows what fucking happened that day. Because, like, they're talking about, like, Eric Bischoff's like, well, I sat down with Hulk and he came up with this idea, and it was like, well, Hulk didn't want to lose, and da-da-da-da-da, and they played a clip of Hulk Hogan calling Bubba the Love Sponge, and he's like, I had no problem losing to Jeff Jarrett. I would have done it, but the problem was that Vince Russo didn't know what he was going to do with me. And I said, work me, pal. Tell me something. So I know what's going to happen to me after this. And then Eric was like, well, Hulk didn't want to lose. So we changed it. And then fucking Russo's like, I went and I had this plan out what we wanted to do. So they signed off on it. But then they came back and they sent him a fax at the end of the day when he wasn't at the office and changed it. And it was just like, nobody had any fucking idea what was going on. And I watched it and Jeff Jarrett comes on. And they started asking Jeff Jarrett stuff. I legitimately felt bad for him because they're like trying to get information out of him. And he's like, I don't know. I really don't know. Russo came to me and told me this is what I'm doing, and then Hogan came to me and said, "We're gonna have a good match, pal. Thanks for putting me over." And I was like, "I'm not putting you over." "Well, yeah, you are. I'm playing creative control," and it's just like this whole thing. And then Bischoff told him something, and then fucking Russo told him something. Then they agreed on this thing where they were gonna go have this match, and then they were going to have an actual match, and Hogan was going to win, but Hogan was going to leave, and then Russo was going to come out and say, Hogan left the company, blah, 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 and they were going to crown a new champion. And then they were going to bring Hogan back in October to fight Booker T for the belt, which sounds really bad. And then they didn't do that because Russo told Jarrett to fucking lay down. So Jarrett laid down, and Hogan was pissed at him because he laid down. Then they go to the back, and Jarrett's like, "Well, I did that," and I thought everybody was pissed. And Hogan comes out, and he's like, "Nice work, brother." And he like shakes my hand and gives me a hug. And then he fucking leaves. So Hogan leaves, and then Russo goes out without any prompting and cuts a promo on Hogan, and then everybody's pissed off. And it's just like he's like, "It's the craziest thing I ever saw." How do you run a fucking show like that?
Fucking batshit.
Yeah.
Good God, I remember that one.
Well, then Hogan was talking about like. I listened to the full clip from Bubba the Love Sponge because I saw it on YouTube today. I'm like, I want to hear this, and he contradicts himself in that too because he's like, he won the belt. He said he was pissed at how it went down with Jarrett, but then he said he was happy about it because he had the belt and he knew what he was doing. Then he said he left, and then he said when Russo went to the ring, he was in the back with Nick, even though he had already left on a plane with Bischoff, and Nick was never there. But now Russo's bad-mouthing him in front of Nick, so he wants to go to the ring to fight him. But then Doug Dillinger said, "We don't need a lawsuit, you need to leave." And I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck happened?
Were you there or not?
No, it was an amazing, it was like, it made no fucking sense. Like, those shows usually are really good.
Nobody knows what happened.
No, because legitimately, like, what the fuck? Well, they do. There's 3 people that know what happened. Russo, Bischoff, and Hogan, but they're all full of shit.
Yeah.
And instead of telling the story, they're more interested in, making themselves look good.
Telling a story, yeah.
That's what Eric Bischoff does, though. He likes to downplay everything that he did wrong in WCW and act like it was fine, but Russo ruined it. But he actually ruined WCW pretty hard.
Yeah.
They were on a pretty hard downward trend before he got there.
Mm-hmm.
Russo got there.
I mean, that was the reason they hired Russo, was because Bischoff wasn't pulling his own at that point. I mean, the man has a podcast named however many weeks they were on top. Like, that's his claim to fame. He's going to ride that until he dies. And I'm not saying that Eric Bischoff is an idiot, because he's not. He has some good viewpoints on even modern wrestling. But for the most part, like, his general outlook is like, look at all this great shit that I did with WCW. Well, WCW isn't around anymore, so as great as it was that you beat WWE for a little while, you did not win.
Then they came back and they hosed you worse than anyone's ever been hosed in this business. It was like the worst. That one fucking night, like, Raw had like a 7.9 rating, and WCW Nitro had like a 2.0. Mm-hmm. It's like, wow, this isn't even fucking close. I remember back when a bad night of Raw would get like a 5.3. Now they can't even get like a 2.1.
Yeah.
That show really fell off. Really fell off. Hogan was almost the bass player from Metallica. I don't know if you know that. He said that.
According
he legitimately said that. I know.
He's claimed both times too. He's in the past he has claimed that he was going to be the replacement for Cliff, and he's claimed that he was going to be the replacement for Jason. Like,
I never heard the Jason one. I heard the Cliff one. Take this old leathery man and Metallica.
He's claimed both throughout the years. Oh my
god!
Because it's like the fucking Andre story. Like, it has gotten bigger. Like, Andre has become more and more massive every time he tells that story.
Do you ever hear him?
Every time.
Do you ever hear him talk about how he didn't know the match? I didn't know what was going to happen. I wrote up a match on some yellow legal pad, and I gave it to Andre. He just took it and put it in his pocket. I didn't know he read it. And all day I'm sitting there. What are we doing, boss? What are we doing, boss? And Andre, he was just testing me. We get out there. Exactly what I wanted for the match. Then you listen to somebody else. You listen to somebody else talking about. They're like, "Yeah, we had that match pretty much put together like 2 months beforehand because like Andre couldn't do anything, and we had to be real specific what we were trying to do. And like Andre never was gonna. Yeah, like he
just ignored him.
You just fucking sit there, and it's just like, the fuck, Hogan. You can't believe a word that man says.
No.
Oh, like he is fucking carny to the core.
How does that old phrase go? If he told you the sky was blue, you'd probably stick your head out the window to make sure.
That's a fucking
absolutely. At this point, absolutely. And don't mind you, we are speaking about one of my childhood heroes, but
I like it when he talks about Randy Savage. Me and Randy met up before he died. 3 days before he died, we had a conversation. We gave each other a hug, and we were good. And then, like, Lanny Poffo was talking about, Lanny's like, maybe, but I've never heard that. I have no fucking, like, Randy never said he talked to Hulk, and if Randy would have talked to Hulk, he probably would have told me. You know?
Right.
But
the man wrote an entire album, an entire rap album about how much he hated Hogan. Like, I don't think that he's just gonna hug it out.
Fucking Randy was crazy.
He was.
Hogan though is just
also
the stories he fucking tells are just like, what the fuck? The fuck are you talking about? You know? And I came into WCW and I was still the biggest draw for Bash at the Beach 2000. I was still the biggest draw, and when I was on TV, we were getting 4.0, 4.5 ratings, and then they took me off of TV because they had me lose to Billy Kidman. Then the ratings went down to 1.1. No, what the fuck are you talking? That's not true. That's not right at all. What the fuck are you talking about? Just like, shut the fuck up. And I didn't get paid. I didn't get paid. I have to wrestle to get paid. It's like, you are full of shit right now. You got fucking paid. Everyone knows you got paid. So he just was so... He was very contradictory in that show, and then Russo doesn't have a coherent thought in his fucking head. It's just boom, 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 boom. He invented Crash TV because that's how he fucking thinks.
Bro.
Yeah. I was making things exciting. We're going to hit him with a short match. We're going to go backstage. They're not going to know what's next. It's going to be this, then it's going to be that, then it's going to be this, then it's going to be that. And everything's going to suck. And I want wrestlers to look like dildos. The Johnsons, or whatever the fuck they were.
The Dicks.
Oh, good lord.
Beaver cleavage. Someday we got to do an episode about Vince Russo.
Jesus Christ.
We have to.
Someday.
We have to.
That and Hulk Hogan stories. Like, legitimately find all the best Hulk Hogan stories. Because they're out there. And
I do actually think either one of those would be fun to do.
The Hulk Hogan stories will be fucking. Just find your best Hulk Hogan stories. Bring them to the show.
Just do the evolution of the way he's told certain stories, like WrestleMania 3 and Metallica. And
What about the Undertaker? What about the Undertaker? When he fought the Undertaker at Survivor Series, shit, was that 91, 92, 91? 91?
91.
91. And he said that Taker hurt his neck. And then there's a promo where he's talking about how, yeah, he wasn't safe. The big guy dropped me on my head, and I didn't want to do anything bad to him, but he's not a safe worker. Da 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 da. And then like you click on another interview with him, he's like, yeah, I was always a big fan of Mark. I thought he was a great guy. The Undertaker, great character. Really got behind him. Really wanted to work with him. Really wanted to help him come up. And we had that match, and that match was just incredible. He's such an easy guy to work with. Which one is it, Hulk? I don't fucking know. Is he unsafe or is he great? It's just like shit. He's
blurring the line, buddy.
There's not a fucking line because you don't know. It's just far left, far right. Just you're here or here. The line's in the middle. You're nowhere fucking near it ever.
He's just lying.
Yeah, he's just lying. That's pretty much what it fucking is.
It's over there. No, it's over there. No, it's right here.
I want to find a shoot interview with him about Sid, that match they had at WrestleMania 9, which was an abysmal match. Have either of you ever watched it? You probably have, but don't remember it. It's fucking... know.
I have. It was very disappointing.
Sid was a big, scary looking dude that really couldn't cut a promo.
Yep.
But his biggest issue was he couldn't work at all. He was just nothing good ever happened. Ever. Everything he did was bad.
He was a good announcer.
Yeah, but he couldn't work. You couldn't have a fucking match with him.
Yeah, I know.
The only thing I remember about Sid Vicious is that he ruined his ankle doing a stupid move off the top turnbuckle.
Because they told me he needed to have a more explosive offense. Climb the top rope.
No.
I remember when he busted up the barber's shop and got the white powder on his face, and it looked like he was snorting cocaine. He had a chair in his hands and he was screaming because he was going to kill Brutus Beefcake. I remember, if you really want to watch a good match, he had a fucking stretcher match in WCW when he was leaving with El Gigante, also known as our favorite wrestler, Giant Gonzalez.
Oh, right.
I just want you to guess how that went.
Perfect.
Oh my fucking god!
First 7 stars that Dave ever gave out.
There's also a match between
19 stars
between Giant Gonzalez and like Norm the Trucker. I don't know if you guys remember him. He turned into Friar Ferguson and Bashing Booger, but he was Norm the Trucker, and they had a match. Holy fuck! You can't say anything good about it. It's just bad. Sid just couldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to hear what Hogan has to say about Sid.
Sure.
I'd be curious.
I'll get him on the show.
I feel like we could land Sid. I feel like that would be doable. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
He's playing softball.
He's playing softball?
Yeah, we'd have to, just booking fee is a new softball bat.
Thanks, Sid. We're going to spend the next 3 hours just ripping on you endlessly and asking you why you're such a dumb fuck.
I hope you're okay with that.
Oh my god.
Well, I think that's a good place to end off.
That image better be in the thumbnail.
It probably will.
That image better be in the fucking thumbnail.
That's a pretty good image. I'm not going to lie about
shit.
that. Well, this has been the BREWDCAST. We have been talking about Dynamite and Sid Vicious looking like a crazy person. I'm Bud Robinson. For Leon Robinson in town, whatever we called you at the beginning of the show, later.
Town Logical.